Hello and good morning. Welcome to yoga today. As you can see, we're going to do some yoga in a chair. So that way, if you are watching from an office, if you work at your desk throughout the day, if you're driving around for your job, whatever it is, I just wanted to show you guys some moves, some options, things that you can do as you're seated that you can just do anywhere. You know, if you have a quick 5-minute break or longer, and ways to still be able to move your body and start to bring that awareness inwards and get a little reset for your day. So we will go ahead and begin wherever you are seated. A lot of these you can also do standing if you would rather. But let's go ahead and scoot towards the front portion of your seat. So you can't really feel the back of your seat connected to your chair there, unless that's not an option. Feel free to stay as you are. But let's just try to connect those feet with the ground or the floor beneath you. You can have your shoes on or off, whatever is more comfortable for you. And just for a moment, try just moving those feet, lifting up onto those toes, and then maybe down onto the heels. I know you can't really see my feet, but just flexing, extending those feet as we start to wake up, get some blood flow through those ankles, through those toes. Maybe try to create a little space in between those toes every time they lift off the floor. And then as those feet come back to center, let's try rolling onto the outer edges of those feet. It might not go very far, and that's okay. And then try rolling onto the inner edges of those feet. And you might need to move those feet a little further apart so those knees don't get in the way. Just starting to notice what feels more comfortable, which direction, maybe where we can work on it a little bit or hold a little bit as we breathe into it. And then whenever you'd like, you can just bring those feet back to center, maybe about hip width apart, or wherever feels comfortable for you. Gently just planting those feet into the mat. Let's sit up nice and tall, lifting those shoulders up towards those ears as we take a full breath in, and then on the breath out, just letting those shoulders relax. Let's take 2 more breaths like that. In through the nose, just lifting the shoulders up like you're shrugging the shoulders, and exhaling out through the mouth. Once more like that together as we breathe in and lift. Sometimes our shoulders get stuck here without us realizing it. And exhale, just allowing them to relax. Bringing those hands to the tops of those legs here. You might try closing those eyes, or if you'd rather keep them open, just turning that gaze downwards. Let's take a moment to check in with the breath today. Are you breathing through the nose, maybe through the mouth? Where do you feel that breath moving into the body as you breathe in through the nose or the mouth? Where does that breath go? Does it just stay in the upper chest? Does it go a little deeper into the ribs or maybe even the belly? Trying to just watch and see where you feel any kind of movement through the torso as you breathe here. And then as you continue to breathe, just try to think about your breath being like water being poured into a glass, like where your body, your torso is the glass that's going to hold the water. So as you pour water into a glass, it fills from the bottom up, right? And then when you pour it back out, it empties from the top down. So think about that with your breath and try that for a few moments. As you breathe in, try filling the belly first. Inhaling deep into the belly, allowing it to expand. And then that breath fills into the ribs, the lungs, and finally into the upper chest. And then as you breathe out, maybe we can drop the chest, relax through those ribs, and then the belly contracts and comes back in. So kind of 3 parts of that breath here with the belly, the ribs, and the chest. Just explore with that for a few moments here. Trying to breathe in from the bottom up into the belly, the ribs, the chest. And then breathing out from the top down. So out of the chest, out of the ribs, finally out of the belly. Just observing what that feels like. It might not be so comfortable, especially if you're not used to breathing a little deeper into the belly or the ribs. We don't want to force the breath here in any way, just trying to make it a little bit fuller. And maybe just try 2 more full breaths there. All right, and then as you can let go of that 3-part breath. You can always come in and out of it at any point. You know, if you ever just need a moment to reset, you can always just think about that breath for a moment or two. All right, let's take another big shoulder roll back and down. And as we leave those shoulders down, let's drop one ear down towards that same shoulder. So I'm dropping my right ear towards right shoulder, but we'll do both sides. So it doesn't matter which. Gently lifting the chin up towards the ceiling. And you can keep the hands where they are if that works for you, if you feel a good little stretch on the side of the neck there, or you can bring that right hand up to the side of the head. Now we don't want to be pushing the hand down into the head, but maybe thinking about lifting the head up into the hand. See if that changes how that stretch feels a little bit. And then we'll slowly bring the hand back to the leg, and then let's just drop the chin down. Very slowly moving it down and across the chest, making its way over to the opposite shoulder. No rush to get there. You can pause anywhere along the way. And then when you get to that other shoulder, lifting the chin up slightly, the ears dropping towards the shoulder, and then maybe that left hand comes up to the side of the head. Just a very light connection with the head and the hand. And then you might start to lift the head up into the hand. Trying to keep awareness on the side of the neck or the upper shoulder, wherever you start to feel a little more length. And then as you lower your hand to the leg, instead of dropping the chin, let's try lifting the chin all the way up towards the ceiling. Just slowly rolling that head around to the other side as the head comes back. And then go ahead and bring that head back to center. So just making a full, complete circle there. Take a moment or two here as everything comes back to center. All right, and then on our next breath in, let's lift these arms. Nice and tall, all the way up towards the ceiling until those hands touch overhead, and then we'll exhale them down to our heart center. Let's try that again as we inhale, reaching out as far as we can, maybe even slightly back behind you as we lift up, as we begin to open through the heart, through the shoulders, and then exhaling, hands to our heart center. Once more like that as we inhale, reaching back, out, and up. And let's interlace those fingers at the top. We're going to bring hands to the back of our head. Now as we turn that gaze upwards, see if we can just let the head rest in those hands. Firming up through that cord, try to draw the navel in towards the spine so we're not dumping into that lower back. And then those elbows, we might reach them back behind us. So lifting up through the heart, gaze is up, head is just resting in the hands. See if you can relax the neck a little bit. As those elbows drop back, maybe even those shoulder blades squeeze together as they drop down away from those ears. We're going to take one more full breath here as we lift up through that heart center. And then on the breath out, just drawing in through the navel, let's draw those elbows forward out in front of the face as the chin drops towards the chest. And then on the inhale, we're going to lift up through the heart, opening those elbows, shoulders drop down and back, gaze turns upwards, and then exhaling, drawing in through the navel, rounding through the lower back, through the upper back, as we create space in between those shoulder blades. And we continue to move with our breath. Let's try 3 full breaths here, 3 times in each direction. Always an option to stay and hold. Paying attention to what this feels like as you inhale and open, where you feel a little stretch, a little more space, or maybe as you exhale, how that works there. Let's try one more full breath here. And then slowly coming back to that neutral spine, go ahead and release those hands to those legs. We'll inhale, lifting up a little bit taller. Let's walk those feet forward out in front of us a little bit. If you're not at the front edge of your seat, maybe scoot forward a little further. Just inhale as we lift tall, and then on the exhale, we're just gonna hinge forward at the hips, try to lead with the heart as we start to fold over those legs. Now you can keep the hands where they're at, or you can wrap those arms around the legs, or hands can come to the floor. And then just softening through the neck, the shoulders, dropping the chin towards the chest. Taking a few breaths here, breathing into the back part of the torso, the back of the lungs, the back of that heart center, the lower back. And releasing those hands as you're ready. Maybe you bring those hands to the top of the legs and we slowly make our way back up to a seat. You can bring those feet back in underneath those knees. Then let's inhale, arms lift all the way up. On the next breath out, let's turn to one side and just open those arms out to the side first. Reaching in both directions. Try to lift tall through the crown of the head, staying connected to the seat beneath you. We'll inhale back up through center. Maybe those hands touch overhead just briefly. And then exhaling, let's turn to the other side. Reaching in both directions through those arms, through those fingertips. Inhaling back through center. And then once again, we're going to exhale and turn to the other side, but this time let's lower those hands down. So one hand can come to the opposite knee. The other hand can come behind the chair or maybe to the bottom of the chair. Or you can reach for something behind you, whether it's like a desk or a wall. Just try to find something to hold on to. So as we breathe, about three more breaths here. Each breath in, try to sit up a little bit taller to create a little more space through the spine. And then each breath out, you can use the hands where they're at to gently press into to help twist a tiny bit deeper. Dropping those shoulders down away from those ears. They tend to creep up really quickly when we're not thinking about it. So just give them some time to relax. And then as you feel ready, let's inhale, slowly untwist, lifting those arms back up nice and tall. Try to maintain that length in the spine as you exhale and turn to the other side, lowering one hand to the knee, the other hand behind the chair, to the bottom of the chair, or directly behind you. And maybe even turning that gaze back behind you as well. Continuing to sit tall with each breath in. Twisting, dropping those shoulders with each breath out. Slowly unwinding when you feel ready. Inhaling those arms back up through center. Exhale, just side out through the mouth as we lower those hands back down. Okay, let's keep our left leg on the floor. We're gonna bring our right ankle above that left knee. So some options here, if this doesn't work to bring the ankle over the knee, you can always straighten that left leg out and stack the ankle here, or it can be along the shin or the calf. So just find what works for your body. Either way, we wanna sit up nice and tall. Always try to lengthen before we fold or before we twist, so that way we're not compressing or constricting through the spine, through those vertebrae. And then let's find a place for those hands to rest, whether it's on the front of the legs, or you can always hold on to the chair. We'll inhale as we lift the crown of the head, and then on the exhale, just very slowly starting to hinge at those hips. And the only thing that's bending or moving here is the waist. So even though we're folding forward, we're leading forward with the heart, try to keep those shoulders gently drawing back till we find that space where our body just naturally pauses for us. Whether it's where we want to be or not, it's where our body is, and that is okay. So just listening, finding that spot. And then as we find that breath, you might find with each breath out, as we slow it down, the body, those muscles might let go a little bit more. Sometimes it's almost as if you just have to remind your body that you've got this. It's okay to let go. See if we can soften and relax through the jaw, through the tops of those shoulders. more full breath here. And then maybe on a breath in, we draw in through the navel, lifting up through the chest, up through the crown of the head, coming back to center and uncrossing those legs, bringing both feet to the floor. And before you switch to the other side, just pause here for a moment. With both feet reconnected to the ground, see if we can check in for a moment on those hips, on the back, on the legs, where you might feel a little subtle energy or a little heat through the body. And then when you're ready, you can switch sides. So whether you extend this bottom leg or the foot is under the knee, either way is fine. Crossing that left ankle over the right knee or down the leg further. You might find this side's a little different than the other side, and that's totally normal. But when you're ready, let's inhale, drawing in and upwards from the belly all the way up. And then on the exhale, we gently start to fold, hinging at the hips, leading with our heart, till we find that spot where the body's like, yep, that's where we're stopping. And then as we breathe, that's when you can remind it, you've got it. You can let go just a little bit more. Inhaling into that space that you're creating. Exhaling, letting it go. Noticing any of those areas that we tend to hold on to tightness without realizing it. Through the shoulders, through the neck, through the jaw. Sometimes that area around the eyes, we tend to squint when things aren't very comfortable. Just see if we can relax those muscles around the eyes, through the cheeks. Maybe even through the hands, the fingertips. Breathing into that outer hip, or wherever you feel a little more space, a little bit of a stretch. One more full breath here. And then maybe on an inhale, we slowly roll all the way back up. Uncrossing those legs, both feet can come to the floor, or you can extend them out in front, maybe shake them out a little bit. All right, and then just coming back to center, maybe for this last moment or two, go ahead and scoot all the way back until you can feel the back of your seat. It might be connected to the entire back of the seat, or maybe just the lower back, maybe the back of the shoulders, just depending on your seat, your chair. Feet might still be connected to the floor. They might be hovering, and that's okay too. Let's just bring those hands to the tops of those legs. Once again, as we breathe in, just taking a nice full breath in. Maybe put a little bit more weight into those hands as we start to press into the tops of the legs. And then on the breath out, just relaxing those hands, relaxing the shoulders as the breath goes out. And once again, as we inhale, pressing into those hands, maybe we lift the shoulders up a little bit more, start to feel a little engagement through the torso. And exhaling all the way out as we soften and relax. One more breath here. Nice full breath in. Then on the breath out, try just sighing it out through the mouth. All right. Thank you so much for joining today. I hope this was helpful. If you ever have suggestions or ideas of things you want to work on in class, please feel free to leave a comment and let me know. But otherwise, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste.